Today we are going to be replacing our Kenwood head unit. I've had this for quite a bit of years, and it's just not connecting to Bluetooth anymore, and honestly it's just a little outdated. I wanted something a little nicer for the truck, so we're gonna get one of these installed. It's gonna be a 10-inch monitor, and honestly I don't think it's gonna fit, but the only way to know is to install it. I like these because it's a single din and it mounts to there with some screws and bracket. And it comes with this 10-inch screen that's going to mount to the single deck. Honestly, I don't think it's going to fit, but the only way to know is to get it installed and have it actually mounted in there and see if it's going to hit the shifter right here. If you saw my TikTok, it actually hits the shifter hits the screen, but it mounts all the way up to this point here. So I'm hoping that this difference here will make up for the shifter, and I'll be able to actually mount it in there, even if it's very close. As long as it's not touching, then I think we'll be all right. Actually need to drop it down to first gear to get this out, and then just set that aside. So now we have the radio and everything else exposed. So now we can work on getting this head unit out. If you have an aftermarket radio, you're gonna need some tools like these to slide in the side to pop the radio out. If you have the stock head unit, you're gonna need different tools. Once you have the cover off, you're gonna see these sides right here. So you just slide the tools into there. Then you're gonna kind of have to get a little finicky with it, and it should slide right out. It's kind of hard to see, but right down in there, there's a tab, and that's what that tool is pushing outward so that the radio can slide out. So once you get that, then you can take these tools out, and then the radio pops out. Just like that. Okay, let's go ahead and just slide this one in. So that's in there good enough. I don't think it clipped in, but honestly I was going to replace the bracket anyways. So for this part, I'm going to need two hands because I don't want to damage it, but it has that port that plugs into that. There's two little bracket clips in there. And then when you're actually done with the installation, you could put in the screws that they supply. For right now, I'm going to go ahead and mount this really quick, and then once I have it on, I will show you guys. All right, I haven't done it yet. I just wanted to show you guys it mounted, and that's on there. And now let's see. And it hits the screen. Dang it. I have it turned as much as I can. It's not even fully seating on there. Well, that's upsetting. I really had high hopes for that. You guys can see on there, I tried to mount it as best as I could, as far back as I could, and it just still hits the shifter right there. It's frustrating. All right, well, that was upsetting. I'm gonna put the old radio back in. We're gonna go ahead and return that and try to get a 9-inch and see if that works. Stay tuned. I lied. This is gonna be take 2. I got another one, but it is still a 10-inch, but it has a different bracket here, which is a little bit more slim. So I'm hoping it's gonna fit. But here's the reason I got it, okay? Because, see, this is my reasoning. On their Amazon account, it actually shows this being installed in the same model Silverado or Sierra, whatever, you know, they're all pretty much the same. It's their picture is in the same thing. So there should be no reason why it doesn't fit. Let's try it. I'm gonna skip it all, but I gotta take all this off again. Here's the new one. Still a 10-inch. All right, here's the moment of truth. I haven't done it yet, but it is in. I believe it's in all the way, but let's give it a try. No way. It doesn't hit. You guys. Dude, I am so stoked. And that's not even, look at that. If you tilt the screen too, it gives you even more clearance. You can move it up. I might need 2 hands, I don't want to break something, but it slides up, goes left, right. That's awesome. Let's just hope it actually works. Time to get it wired up. So to save some work, I'm gonna try to utilize my old microphone. I have already a pigtail that plugs into the factory harness, so I do not ever cut the factory harness. So I just have to cut off the Kenwood harness here and then reattach the new wires for the new head unit. In the package comes a backup camera with some very simple directions. You got the camera here. It's going to come with your harnesses, outputs, brackets, screws, your antenna adapter. At the bench, make sure to take off all this plastic wrap that's on it. If for some reason this was to overheat, it could melt it on there. All right, let's lay everything out. Those, get your harnesses, your microphone, your GPS antenna. This is from the truck. This is from the radio. They have everything labeled, but you're just pretty much going to color match it. And I'm going to show you that in a second. Get those separated, just like that. Once you get those cleaned up, you are just going to color match. So gray speakers to gray. So these are the basic ones here. You're going to have your black, your ground. You're gonna have your red and your yellow right there. Those are the 3 power. And then for your speakers, you're gonna have purple, green, white, and gray. So these are gonna be bunched up to your speakers, and then they should be labeled. But again, on this one, they're not labeled, but you just color match. So gray, and then you have gray with a black line, solid gray, and so forth. So purple is going to be purple with a black line, green with a black line, and green, and so forth. So you just color match them and hook them back up. Where it gets a little, not tricky, but you got to pay more attention, is you're going to have these one-offs. So they're going to be labeled rear camera. That doesn't connect to this. That is actually going to connect to this end of your camera. The orange one here is for your dimmer, to basically give it backlight, stuff like that. From here, I'm just gonna go ahead and strip the wires one by one, and I'm gonna match them, get them all hooked up, and then we'll come back. That's how it should look when you're done. I don't have steering wheel controls in the 2002 model, so these are gonna get capped off. This is for the rear camera, and this is for steering wheel as well. So I'll probably just put some electrical tape over it. It's not gonna conduct anything, just to cover it so it doesn't get damaged in there, I guess. But that's it. So I'm back at the truck now. I'm gonna try to use my old microphone. I got the pillar off, you just pull it off. There's nothing to it, slides out from there. I'm also gonna try to mount the GPS signal on the dash here somewhere. Or maybe even possibly up here. Routing everything, I'm gonna go ahead and plug in the radio and just make sure it works. So we got power so far, it's turning on. So you got this kind of radio for a reason. You got it for the GPS, the microphone, hands-free talking, all the fancy gizmos that it comes with. So you're gonna have to run all the stuff. So I already have a microphone ran, so I'm gonna try to just utilize that one. And it's coming out right there. That one is also the antenna. But what we're gonna need to do is, since we already have this open, without taking anything apart, what you can actually do, it doesn't look like it, but there's actually plenty of room in there to be able to fish the wires through. And if needed, you can also go from the bottom. But you can take off your access panel here to your fuse box. It's just right here at the bottom. You just pop that open, comes right out. Same thing for this part here. If you're gonna be running the camera, you just pull up on it right here with your hands and just carefully pry up. Those are the clips right there. And then we're gonna set that aside. When you're running to the back of the truck or your car, you're gonna wanna go through the panels here and run the wire for the camera under that. And then we're also gonna take this off here. Don't believe there's any screws, so this one also should just pop right out. So there's just two clips right there, and then this one just pulls right out, and you might have to jiggle the hood latch there a little bit. But so now everything's open. I'm gonna use some wire, and we're gonna fish the GPS and the camera and all that stuff through there. What I like to do is just lay out the wire. All the way to the back of the truck. And then from here, we're gonna fish this through here, through the dash, up to the radio. And then this end, we'll just pick it back up from there and finish it through the truck, out through the bed, and that to the back to the license plate. I have this fence wire laying around, so this is what I'm gonna use. Use it, I just measured out the length from the radio to the side over here, and then I'm gonna cut it, and I'm gonna use this to fish the wires through. So you can actually just go right over the gauge cluster from the radio here. I'm gonna go over the cluster and then come out on that side where the pillar is, right over here, from right down there. So it's already ran for the microphone, and then I'm gonna go ahead and place the GPS right here. Or from that point, I can run the GPS up the pillar and then come up here, and I can place it up here if I wanted to. So just like that. There's a wire going through there, and then just fish it through there. Pull all the slack, and then whatever's left over, just tuck it behind the gauge cluster like that, and that'll be fine. There's even a little bracket right there if you really wanted to zip tie it to that so it's not flopping around. You could do that. So I'm gonna finish pulling that through. I ended up pulling the kick panel down, and what I'm gonna do is actually follow the wire harness here to go down into the pillar by the parking brake and the hood release. That's where the wire is going to go down, and then follow the back. But under here, I'm just going to run it through the dash by the fuse box under the steering column right there, this one. I'm going to set it with these wires here, just zip tie it so it's nice. Come under this the knee brace, the impact brace, I don't know what the heck that thing is, under here. And then right under here is an opening to the back of the radio where it will come up through there. So I have that on there. I have that taped up. Go ahead and try to fish that through now. And hopefully it comes up. And there it is. Okay, now we got the camera connections to the back of the head unit. All right, so here's what it should look like. You have everything connected on there. Your speaker wires, all that, going into the factory harness. Got your antenna adapter plugged into the antenna. The microphone is gonna go into, where to go? This one here. They're all labeled. Mic. That, and then still got to connect my backup camera, but it's all labeled right there to right there, rear camera. So just got to connect those, and then we're just going to push it back in. Like always, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, go and leave them down in the comments.